When I met Shannon, she was a single mom with 2 kids. And one of the first things I remember really kind of falling in love with her for was just how good a mom she really was. She uses her extremely large heart to love those kids with absolutely all of it. And I later came to find out this was actually a Woolsey family trait. But it didn't take long for me to understand why. They're easy to love, and I quickly found myself feeling exactly the same way.
When you get divorced, you can never imagine anybody loving your kids the way that you do. Luke does, unconditionally, no matter what. He's their biggest cheerleader. He always shows up. He's always there for us. He puts us before everything. Having divorced parents is hard. Luke makes it easy.
About 4 years ago, they moved in with me. And we had talked about it before we started dating, but neither of us really had plans to get married again. We were almost the walking embodiment of been there, done that, got the t-shirts. We were happy with things the way they were, and we were both on the same page, or at least so I thought. Fast forward about a year, and I'm tucking our youngest daughter into bed, and she asks me to lean in, and she whispers in my ear, "When are you gonna marry my mom?" And I was a little taken aback. I think I just chuckled and kissed her on the cheek and went about my day. But every night for the next, feels like months, I don't know if it was quite that long, but she would do some variation of, at bedtime, "When are you gonna marry my mom? You need to marry my mom." And that's a very powerful statement coming from a 9-year-old, right? I didn't quite know what to make of it, and I talked to Shannon about it, and we just kind of laugh it off. She'd say, "Oh, she just wants to be in a wedding." It came closer to Christmas, and she'd start saying things like, "I know what you should get my mom for Christmas, an engagement ring," right? This was every conversation was about this with this 9-year-old girl. And finally one day I just actually sat down and asked her, I said, why do you want me to marry your mom so bad? And she says to me, "Because then you'll really be my dad." And I'd like to say I had something really sweet and profound to say back to that little girl in that moment, but I was so taken aback, I don't think I said anything at all. A couple days later, we talked about it, and I just, I choke up just thinking about it, because that's, again, it's such a powerful statement. I don't know how something like that comes out of someone so young, and I didn't want to tell her that I was going to go ahead and take her advice, because 9-year-olds can't keep secrets. But
he's a very good dad. He does everything with us, even if we don't ask. He's just very, very fun and super nice. I'm very happy for my mom, because Luke is an amazing dad and an amazing person. I'm so happy that you're here in my family, because you make my mom very, very happy and less stressed, and you're an amazing father.
A few months later, I did propose, and we did get married. And then the questions start coming, right? There's 2 questions everybody asks you when you get married, especially at our age, is, are you gonna have more kids? And we're here today to announce, just kidding. That's definitely not happening. There's 2 of us and there's 2 of them, and we're at capacity. But the other question, mostly directed at Shannon, was, are you gonna take his name? And when Shannon got married the last time, she did take her husband's name, and when I did, my wife took my name, and we kind of discussed it and said, the bigger problem really is the kids, right? The kids have, when she did separate, she hyphenated their names, so their kids are Woolsey Pharaohs. And we wanted, obviously, to have a cohesive name as a family. Shannon's a Woolsey, the kids are Woolsey Pharaohs, I'm a Bouillon. How do you put all that together? And we obviously weren't going to ask the kids to change their name, to drop their biological father's name. That's not necessary in any way. So how do you put it together, right? And we talked about possibly hyphenating Shannon's name, so she would be a Woolsey Bouillon and I'm a Bouillon, and the kids are Woolsey Pharaohs, so at least she has the same name as them, but we don't have the same name altogether. Having her just as a Bouillon, obviously not having the same name as her children isn't going to work. So we kind of settled on the hyphenation, if you will. And that worked okay, or again, so we thought, but we didn't take into account how the kids were going to feel about it.
I like his job. It's pretty cool. He does a lot of weird and funny things, like making TikToks and videos. He involves us in quite a lot of things, so it's really fun for us to do activities with him. I'm really happy that he's a part of our family now, and it's been great knowing him to bring him into the family. It's just like another step that's gonna get bigger and better.
Fast forward couple of months, we end up getting married, and I find out that Emerson is telling people that her name is Woolsey Bouillon. Actually, this could be more ridiculous on the back of any kind of a list, right? How do you put that on anything? So that wasn't gonna work, and then the older one, Stella, and Stella can be a tough nut to crack. She's a little pre-teenager. She came home from school one day, and I guess they were monogramming water bottles, and unbeknownst to us, she ordered two. One that said Stella Woolsey Farrow, and one that said Stella Woolsey Bouillon. And I'm like, well, this isn't gonna work. We need to figure out something as a family. It was super important to the kids that they have the same name as me now. So we're talking about how we can make this work, what we can do, and then it just kind of dawned on me, it's 2022. Why is Shannon the only one who can change her name? That doesn't make any sense, right? So that was the new reality. I actually had to Google it and see, can a man assume his wife's name after marriage? And it turns out in some countries you can't, and in Canada you can. And that's kind of where we are. If I'm a Woolsey, Shannon's a Woolsey, the kids are Woolsey Farrow, I'm the only person who has to do anything, and we can be a cohesive family unit. From that point on, it was basically decided, but we knew it was going to be hard to explain. It is 2022, and it shouldn't be weird, but for some reason it still is for a man to change his name. On top of that, one who's relatively prominent. I don't want to make it come off and sound like I'm famous or something like that. I certainly don't think so, but I've been selling real estate in Barrie for about 12 years. I'm the president of the Barrie District Association of Realtors. People do know my name, so to one day just have a different one was going to come off as odd to some people. But it comes down to being family first. I love these girls more than anything else in the world, and this was the right decision for us. So this is the first time I'm going to say this out loud, but I'm Luke Woolsey. I'm a husband, father, music lover, motorcycle enthusiast, ATV enthusiast, and kick-ass realtor.